Hello, and welcome to the very first video of the series Knowledge is Power. I'm Françoise, and I'm the person behind the Instagram account Radical Hysterical. I'm also someone who likes books, and so in this series I will share with you a few of my favorite books, starting today with a list of feminist books for kids. Because it's that time of the year again, and in 2020 fashion, it sure will be Because we're almost at the end of the year, for the most privileged of us, there might be some presents exchanged. And if you have little people in your life that you might not have seen for a while, you might be wondering, what should I get them? And I'm here to help, with a bunch of books. I think books are great presents for kids. First of all, because the stories that we read as children really stay with you. Stories really help children develop a rich imagination, and that is something that it's so needed right now. Fiction is so important for children to learn empathy and to learn that, there's other point of view in the world, but also that the feelings that they're feeling are totally normal. There are plenty of books out there, and it can be quite hard to find the right one. So here's a few tips on what to look out for when you're picking a book for a kid. The first thing you need to check is, what's the overall emotion of the story? Is it an adventure book? A funny story? A scary story? A love story? What are we talking about here? The second thing to check for are the values. What are the values that are conveyed by the story? And are they aligned with what I believe in the world and what I want the kid to know about the world? The next thing to check for are characters. Who are they? Are they real or are they real-like? Could they be real? Even if they are turtles, hedgehogs or wolves, is the world they are living in inclusive of gender, ability and race? Finally, and it's a big one, is the book appropriate for the child's age? Some kids might love reading and might be quite advanced in the type of books that they might want to read, but just check that the language and the subject matter is appropriate for that kid's age. Okay, so you might be wondering, why should we bother kids with feminism? I don't think it's necessary to bother kids with the nitty-gritty of gender roles and inequalities in this world. First of all, it's not fun at all, and second of all, some adults don't even understand that. I'm all about books that will offer alternatives for kids to just comprehend that another world is possible. And so in their heads, they're already educated to think that this alternative is what is normal. It's a bit of brainwashing, isn't it? Here's my list of brilliant feminist books for kids. The first book I want to talk to you about is called Be Kind by the author Pat Zittler-Miller, and the book is appropriate for children from age 3. So it's the story of Tanisha, who spilled a grape juice on her dress at school. And the main character of this book, who we actually don't know their gender, which is a plus, takes us on a journey to know how to be kind to Tanisha, who is obviously very upset, and especially because of the reaction of other kids. I really love this book because it's such a gentle story and it's beautifully illustrated. But what I really like about it is that the copy is quite minimal. So every page is an opportunity to have a conversation with the child and just, ask them about what they think is a good idea to be kind and how they could be kind in that way. So the second book I want to introduce to you is Tough Guys Have Feelings Too by Keith Negley for kids aged over 3. I think this book is perfect for kids of all gender, to just explain to them that even the super tough superheroes have feelings, and it's totally okay to be sad sometimes, and it's totally okay to be scared or even to be angry. You can just express your feelings and, have a conversation about them. I think it's also a great book for children to understand that even adults in their life have feelings. And, as adults, we're getting better at expressing our feelings, but we're not quite there yet. So I think this book will really help start conversation and start the emotional education. The next book on my list is almost already a classic. Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls from Elena Favilli and Francesca Cavallo. You might know that this book was made possible from a crowdfunding campaign. And in a record time, they raised over $675,000. So you might be thinking, do they really need my money? And that's a fair enough question. I really want to introduce this book because it's been translated in 47 different languages. And if you have children in your life that don't speak English and live abroad, for instance, that could be a really good alternative to just picking a book that you don't understand or you can't read or you're not sure about. What I really love about this book is that it looks beautiful, but it's also really cleverly made. Every double spread you have an illustration of an incredible woman and a story. And what you can do when you're reading the book to someone who might not be able to read is, saying, we'll do 3 stories tonight, we'll do 5 stories tonight, and then go to bed, which is always great when, you want to carry on with your life. Even though this book is appropriate for age 6 and over, I think you can definitely offer it to a child that is a little bit younger, who will have someone who will read the story with them. But I'm sure that this book will stay with them for quite a long time after they receive it. So the only thing I like a little less about this book is the title. We want to inspire young girls, to show them that other women have done extraordinary things, and so they can just follow their step and be whoever they want to be. But by saying that this book is for rebel girls, you're kind of excluding half of the demographic. And I'm sure that young boys will learn so much by reading the story of outstanding women. And on that note, you might come across a series of books by Ben Brooks, who have been created kind of in a reaction of Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, in a way of being more inclusive. And even though the title is more inclusive and is showing stories of both women and men, there are a few red flags in those books that I want you to know about. So the way they talk about disability is questionable, the way they talk about transgender people is questionable, and they're kind of excusing white supremacy, so no. What I would do, if you want to offer this book to a boy, I would just stick a post-it on the top cover. It would be like a young girl wearing a boy's top because they like dinosaurs. Okay, the next book I want to talk to you about is called Break the Mold: How to Take Your Place in the World by author Sinead Burr. And this book is appropriate for children aged 10 plus. So in this book, Sinead Burr talks about what it's been like to be the little person in a world that wasn't made for her. And even though she has a visible disability, she can do most things like anyone else. This book really gives a massive confidence boost to anyone who reads it, even adults. But I think it would definitely help children who might feel a little bit different because of a disability, or just because they feel a bit different. This book is brilliant because it's full of hope. It says to children, yes, you can be whoever you want to be, you can be a person you will be proud of. And we're not saying it's going to be easy, but you can do it, and that is something we definitely need in 2020. Okay, so next book is called The Best Man by Richard Peck, and this book is appropriate for children aged over 10. So this book is the story of Archer and how he navigates middle school with all the hardship and interesting things that happen to a kid at that age. So friendship, love, but also bullying. Archer is lucky enough to have 3 very important role models in his life, who are his dad, his grandpa, and his uncle. The book starts and finishes with a wedding, including a gay wedding. I think it's a brilliant book to give a kid who is growing up and who's also experiencing the different things that happen to you when you're in middle school. This book is very much about what it means to be a guy, what it means to grow up as a man. Is it just about your voice going a bit funny and growing hair, or is it about a lot of other things? I think it would definitely suit children of all gender to kind of understand what little boys are going through. Before I leave you, I wanted to tell you about another book, which isn't exactly for kids, but more for teenagers. This book is called You Don't Have to Like Me: Essays on Growing Up, Speaking Out, and Finding Feminism by Alida Nugent. And this book will be appropriate for kids over 14. It's not really a book for children, but I just wanted to slip it in because I'm thinking of those moody teenagers that we might have in our families. Those girls who just appear at the corner of a room and just moan and then leave. They just hate everyone, they just hate everything, they don't want to be there, they hate Christmas, they hate any kind of celebration, they hate family, they hate everything. I was a teenager just like that, and no one really reached out to me at the time. No one really wanted to talk to me. I think I looked pretty scary actually. If someone in my family or a friend of my parents would have given me a book like this, I think I would have felt a little less alone and I would have found a little bit of hope. Just so you know, the books mention sexuality and the morning after pill, so just check with the parents that it's okay to talk about those subjects. So that's it. Here's my list of brilliant feminist books for kids. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Do let me know in the comments if you bought one of those books for a kid and if they liked it or not. Also hit the follow button so you will be notified when we release another video, and if you haven't yet, follow us on Instagram @radicalhysterical. See you soon!